Jonathan Lee Riches, aka JLR. Is Don and Candus Wells cheating on their property taxes? I've been digging in a little bit about their address. Um, Everyone knows it's public information, Ben Hill Road, their property. I'm going to show you something here, and I want your guys' thoughts. I want people to explain a little bit about how property taxes are assessed, and if you think they are underpaying um, taxes on their home property. You see Ben Hill Road. I go to Zillow here. Um, if you see Zillow here on the top, you'll see 2021 assessed their home at $38,000 at 110 Ben Hill Road. Scroll down. Um, Tells you a little bit about the home, built in 2001. They do live on 11.27 acres. It tells the history of the home. Um, Last time it was sold, it was 1997 for 23,000. But then you look at the public tax history, and 2021, their tax assessment value was 9,500. In 2020, they paid $271 on taxes based off a tax assessment of $10,700. And if you scroll back, it's been pretty much the same for the last few years. 271 in 2020, 271 in 2019, to 2018, 271, based off that 10,700 tax assessment. But their home is listed and assessed at 38. Now, the Zillow had the home of Don and Candus Wells assessed in 2021 at $38,000. Scroll down. I'm going to check out Realtor.com, and Realtor.com says their home is off the market, but the value that they're listed is $152,700. So $152,700 for their home. 11.2 acre lot. Interesting. So in comparison, I picked here 165 Ben Hill Road, which is a neighbor right by Don and Candus Wells. If you go to Realtor.com for this home, it is listed on Realtor.com at 191,700 on 6.23 acre lot. So their lot is almost half less than Don and Candus Wells. Their home is valued more. And their home is worth 191,700. Scroll out of it and scroll down. You go to the Zillow. Their home is assessed at 2021 at 95,300. So their home is actually assessed 3 times more in 2021 than the home of Don and Candus Wells, with half the acreage, almost half the acreage of Don and Candus Wells. Scroll down. They pay 308,000 in taxes in 2020. They paid on a tax assessment of 12,175. So the question I have is, why so low on these homes? Why so low on these homes? So the question is, what is the real value of the home of Don and Candus Wells? Back in 2020, Candace Bly made a Facebook post, 11.2 acres for sale with 3 sheds and 1 house, $70,000. This is when Don Wells was out in Utah with one of his sons, Josie. Mary Howard, a relative of Don, told me at the time Don was in Utah at this time in August. He actually registered his son Josie in the Roy Middle School. So she was trying to sell the home for $70,000. Here's another post. Here's a follow up. Are you all selling your place? She said yes. We'll pass it along if I hear or anyone looking for a place. Where are you moving to? Utah. She spells Utah backwards or wrong. So what is the real value of the home of Don and Candus Wells? Being assessed at $38,000 according to tax records. They're paying lower taxes of it being assessed very, very low. She was trying to sell the home at 70,000. Realtor says it's worth in the over 100,000. Neighbors' homes worth over 100,000. So what's going on here? Is the tax assessor or the tax appraiser not going out to these homes in Rogersville, Beach Creek area and assessing the true value? Because if the tax assessor is not doing that, then they're cheating the entire county residents of revenue for that county. If they're just not doing their job and just thinking a home is valued at what. I mean, I was out at the home of Don and Candus Wells, and it's the property itself, I think, is worth more than the house. And I certainly think it's worth more than the $38,000 that it's listed as assessed as, and only the low value that they're actually being taxed as. So let me know your thoughts on that. And one more thing before I go, I was looking at if the home could be homestead. What is the homestead rules of homes in Tennessee? And the only thing I can see is Tennessee offers additional protections for unmarried homeowners over the age of 62 who are entitled to a homestead exemption of up to $12,500. To qualify, the individual must use the property as his or her principal place of residence. Okay, so we know Don Wells. We don't know for sure if he's truly married to Candus Wells, for sure. But I don't believe he's over 62 years old. I believe he's in his late 50s. So the question is the home. And I know I've heard that the home was actually passed over. The home that they're at now was actually passed over from his one of his family members, the Goads. So is it still listed taxed as being under the Goads, even though it's in Don Wells's possession? So is he manipulating or cheating the taxes that way? So interesting. Is he trying to just make his home lower so he can avoid taxes, which cheats the taxpayers of the entire Hawkins County and creates less revenue for the county to improve the county homes, with schooling and roads and whatnot. So let me know your thoughts on that. I just wanted to bring that out, bring attention to that. Is it relevant to the Summerwells case? Absolutely. Their behaviors is relevant to Summerwells being missing. We know a lot about Don and Candus Wells that we've discovered in the last 6 months. So keep digging, keep looking for Summerwells. Hopefully Summerwells will be found soon, and we can hold the people accountable, and brought to justice on what they did to Summerwells. Let's bring Summerwells home.